Hey guys, welcome back to the Network Podcast, and I'm going right back in. Y'all know Melissa's coming back in, and I had more questions for her, and I'm not stopping. If you guys want to come up to the Network Podcast and be, on the show, react to some viral clips, make sure you reach out to me at Stackpack on Instagram, and make sure you tune into Melissa Simmons too, because she's coming right back in with some crazy entrepreneur questions, and I'm jumping right back into this shit. I love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting the Network Podcast and supporting all the episodes that we've been pushing out. But today, I got Melissa Simmons coming back in, and it's been great. It's been a great episode when she's been coming in. And these are the type of individuals I want up here. Networking individuals, people that own businesses. Let's get back into this. I think Melissa actually just stepped in the studio. So my next question for you, Melissa, is what's your bounce back formula? I know in the last episode we were talking about how you overcame quitting, but what's your bounce back formula, when you do want to quit? Over to you.
Love it. Hey, Stack. Bounce back. I think bounce back is about, when you're kind of, when you feel like you want to quit, there's always a sense of being overwhelmed, right? So I think when you feel that you're overwhelmed, I also believe you're kind of running on empty, meaning you need more to really handle a situation or handle a certain a component of your business that you really wasn't prepared to handle. So I think the bounce back becomes a thing where you pour more into yourself, where you seek out more advice, you take a class, or, you get your mentor on the phone and you have them go, go through a few scenarios with you, or you read a book, something to kind of fill that gap that exists because you were feeling like you wanted to walk away. Because a lot of times we want to walk away when we're not prepared, when we don't have the answers, when we can't figure something out. And I think that the bounce back is now doing some, stepping back, getting some more information about the situation, finding out how you could do it better, doing your research, taking a class, whatever it takes, and then coming back. I think that's the bounce back, is looking at what you're doing. It's like an athlete. When an athlete, when they miss the ball, you're a receiver and you miss the catch. Now the next day after the game, you get some drills going saying, I'm not going to miss this catch next time. I think that's the same thing. Your bounce back is what you pour into your regimen to make you stronger.
Love that, Melissa. Now, how do you balance being a boss with your personal life? Over to you, Melissa.
One of the good things I've had over the years and in the positions I've held, I've been able to kind of incorporate some of my life with my career, where I've been able to take my children to my job. All three of my children have seen me work. They have spent time with me at the job. My husband has done the same thing, and I've made it part of our lives, where I'm just not, mom, that's gone for 12 hours and we don't know what mom is doing. Mom has brought her, her children to work. Many a day I remember my children be running around on the floor while I was working, and they'll be visiting a lot of people. So for me, it's more of, this is who I am. I don't often, obviously I'm at work by myself most days, but I don't, ignore, or I share a lot of what I do at work with my family. Most of my family knows the people I work with. I always introduce them to my colleagues, to who are, my boss, if it's the superintendent, the board. So they become familiar with that. And, and the biggest payoff that's been is now I see the skills my children have picked up. And now they're following in my footsteps in terms of entrepreneurship and even starting their own businesses. So I found that, separating the two just never worked for me, so I try to bring it together.
Exactly. Now, Melissa, how do you protect your energy in a demanding lifestyle like yours? I know people are pulling you from different areas like we were talking about on the last episode. How do you protect that energy in a demanding lifestyle?
We all have to have self-care as something we prioritize in our lives. I strongly believe in self-care. I always take time to reflect. I take certain days where it's untouchable, where you can't touch me on that day. If it's that day, I'm going to, take a walk, or, I'm going to spend the day at a spa, or I'm going to do, I'm going to catch up on my book reading, whatever it is. I think we all owe ourselves self-care. And anytime, and it shouldn't be just when we're feeling, tired. It should be just as much as you're committed to wake up and go to work every day. You should be able to be committed to set aside certain times of the day, and then certain days of the week where you're gonna replenish yourself, where you're gonna stop and breathe and enjoy the sky, and enjoy nature, do whatever makes you happy, because that then translates into the energy to wake up the next day to do it again.
Oh, so Melissa,
really prioritizing.
Yeah, I always got to prioritize. So, Melissa, what separates those who dream from those who execute that stuff? What separates the dreamers from the executors?
I love that one. We're all dreamers, right, Stack? We all have a dream in our head. And I used to wonder, what makes certain people become successful and not others? I think the difference is standing up and doing it, and figuring out what it's going to take. Many a person dreams. It takes a person to look at the dreams, write it down. I'm a big believer in writing things down, because we often, think of things in our head. But once you write it down, you now give that dream a place to go. And when you write that dream down, now you write it. So now you start talking about it. Then you talk about it. After you start talking about it, then you start laying out the steps. Once you lay out the steps, then you start practicing. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then you execute it. It's taking the dream and saying, I'm not going to let it die. It's just like giving birth. Once you're pregnant with this dream, now you have to figure out how you're going to grow the dream and then push it out. So it's about figuring out what's next after the dream. Too often, I remember, for example, when I wrote my book, I always wanted to write a book. I always wanted to figure out how to write the book. But once I penned that I'm going to write the book, I wrote it I got a pad, and I said, I'm going to write the book. Then that made me go back to the book and say, what would the chapters be? And I wrote out the chapters. Then after I wrote out the chapters, I said, okay, what's this idea? And then I went from idea to idea. And then in a few months, I wrote the book. So it's about not stopping at the dream, but really pushing it forward to say, this is how I'm going to execute it.
I love that, Melissa. How do you use your platform to create real change? I know a lot of people use their platforms for different messages, but how do you use yours for real change? Over to you.
I love it. Thank you, Zach. This is a personal question for me. When I started, I was one of the few young Black women in an accounting firm. As a matter of fact, I was the only one in the program. And when I realized that, and as I started to move up, I even saw less Black women in these fields and in these positions. And one of the things I quickly became committed to was that I would open the door for other women, and especially other Black women. And it's now come to the point where I just open the door for people of color, because I've learned over the years that a lot of people weren't opening these doors. And I did a conference about a year ago, and I invited a number of people to it. And my husband said, almost everybody in this room you opened the door for. And when I looked at everybody in the room, I almost, I just was so overcome with joy, because I didn't purposely do this. Sometimes we just become something because it's who we are. And I knew I didn't want anybody else to feel how I felt when I walked into a room and didn't see anybody that looked like me. So in that passion, I've opened doors for people, and I continue to do that now.
Come on, we got Melissa in here. I told y'all. Now, Melissa, what legacy are you building beyond money? Over to you.
Ooh. oh man, God, that's a great question.
I told you I was going to hit you in the
legacy,
head with him. I told you I was going to come in hot.
I know, bam. I think the other legacy I'm leaving is more on a family level. Oftentimes, every once in a while, when my family gets together, my children are now, in their 20s and 30s. My nieces and nephews, the same. And I think the legacy I'm leaving now is encouraging them to step out. I want them to know this is, I'm successful doing this, but you should be better than what I'm doing. You should reach higher goals than what I'm achieving. So what I want to really pour into my nieces, my nephews, those children I grew up with, my best friend's children, and all the young people, is really do more than what we did. Don't be scared. We were scared when we started out. I grew up in a time of affirmative action. I grew up in a time where everybody didn't get a shot. So we were nervous to do a lot of things, to say a lot of things. The things what I'm trying to now leave a legacy is being bold and being sure of who you are and being confident, but doing more, not letting nobody stop you, not letting the system stop you, not accepting the status quo, but really creating your own space, doing your own thing. That's what I want to leave moving forward is the thought of we can do anything we want to, just do it.
Come on. I told you I got Melissa in here. Now we got the last power question for you, Melissa. Last power question. Now, Melissa,
Go ahead. I'm ready for it.
What does lifting as you climb mean to you? What does lifting as you climb mean to you? Let's talk about it.
Oh, man. As soon as you said that, I'm a very visual person. So what I saw myself looking up and holding on with my left hand, to the ladder. But then I saw my right hand grabbing onto the next person I'm pulling up with me. That's what lifting while you're, lifting while you're carrying somebody else. This journey of entrepreneurship, of reaching the executive level, whatever it is for you, it means that you rise, but you take somebody else with you. You don't do these things alone. So you make sure you bring that person who wants to learn from you. You bring your the student who you've been mentoring. You bring somebody with you on your journey.
Oh my God. Come on, Melissa. You've been firing up these questions. Now, I think we can fit one more in, Melissa. Now, what do you want? What impact do you want your story to have on the next generation?
Impact. I want people to know, Beyonce has a great song, I Was Here. And I often, when I hear it, you want people to know that you were here with heart. I want people to know that I tried, that, if anybody came to me, they can't say Melissa didn't help me. If you ever ask me a question, they can't say Melissa didn't try to find the answer. If you called me and say I need your help, they couldn't say Melissa didn't help them. I want people to know that whatever you ever asked of me, I tried to help you with it. I believe we're all here on this world, to make a difference. And oftentimes people think it's a little different. You never know what you say to somebody that can change their lives. I love to be positive. I love to encourage people. I think what I want to know that, when I left here, that whoever came to me, I encouraged them. I gave them hope. I gave them love, and I gave them support.
Come on. We had Melissa come up here again. Make sure you guys follow her on all platforms. We appreciate you, Melissa. We're out.
Thank you, Stack. Once again, thank you so much.